Okay, welcome to today's lecture on word formation. Word formation is a concept involving changing the form of the word. Helps us expanding our vocabulary, helps us understanding the different word classes, and word formation is usually with three different ways of forming words. Either it's by using something called prefixation, which is a process where smaller prefixes, words, are added to the beginning of a word. So, for example, let's see if we can have an example here. Yep. The word recycle. By exchanging the prefix re to another word. Instead of re, we use the prefix by. That way we have an entire new word, bicycle, instead of recycle. That's prefixation. Also, another concept is suffixation. In contrast to prefixation, we add a word at the end of the word, a suffix to the word. So let's give us an example. We have the word achieve, to achieve something, which is a verb, and if we add the suffix, the noun suffix meant, we have achieve, meant, a new word class of the word. And lastly, there's something called compounding, which is a process of you combine two separate words, and you have a new word. For example, the word I, we all know what I means, and we have another word, ball. Ball is something you use to play football, and I is something you use you use your eye with that. If you put them together, we have eyeball, a new word. Other examples are olive. We know what olives are, and we know what oil is, and together it's olive oil. Compounding. Today we only going to focus on suffixation. Okay, let's have a look. Suffixation involves adding a suffix to the end of the word. Now, what is a suffix? A suffix, and the definition of a suffix is you could call per definition it's not a word because it doesn't have a meaning, but suffix has a linguistic meaning, linguistic significance, linguistic meaning. No semantic meaning. This means that on its own it doesn't mean anything. I'll give you guys examples. We have the example of meant. That's a suffix. Or her, or ik. 3 examples of suffixes. On their own, they don't really mean anything. But if we use a word, member, no, not member, but we'll take the other example we used before, achieve. The word fail. The word history. By adding, and usually you have to change a little bit of the spelling in the words, but by adding meant, which on its own doesn't mean anything, or or ik. Now, in this process, we need to change the spelling, but we have new words, not new meanings as such, but new linguistic meanings. From achieve, the word achieve is a verb. Achievement is a noun. The verb fail becomes the noun failure. The noun history becomes the adjective historic. So that's what it does. It changes the word class, and it helps us create new ways of expressing the same content. So as I mentioned before, suffixation alters word class. We are dealing with 4 word classes here: nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. I'm going to have 3 different words. Economy. Develop. And produce. So the noun economy, by removing the y and adding the suffix is, we have a verb. By adding the suffix ik to the noun, we have economic. And by adding the suffix ali, we have an adverb. Economic ali. Develop, adding the suffix meant, we have the noun. We have a noun. By adding the suffix ed, we have developed. We have an adjective. In this case, it's not possible to create an adverb. Not always possible. By adding a suffix t, we have a product. By adding a suffix iv, we have an adjective, and the same as the first one, adding product adjective. Oops. ly, we have an adverb. There are different suffixes for different word classes, and I'm going to show you some of the ones I use. So from verbs we can create nouns. By learning these suffixes we have a whole new possibility of creating new words. The suffix er from fail, adding the suffix er we have failure, a noun. By adding er to sign we have a signature. By adding the either ens or ans we have the nouns from verbs prefer, respectively, perform. Preference, performance. Deliver, deliver-e. Discover, discover-e. Propose, proposal. Arrive, arrival. Use, ach. Store, ach. Explode, explosion. Expand, expansion, etc., etc. So this deals with verbs turning into nouns. Now if we have adjectives and want to form nouns, we have a look at the following list and we get new words. From absent, the adjective absent, we get absence or presence. From similar, we get similarity and popularity. From private, we get privacy, and from urgent, we get urgency. From royal, royalty, etc., etc. So these are adjectives forming nouns. What you see here are all nouns coming from the adjectives, such as absent, royal, true, happiness, tense, perfect, turning into perfection, tension, truth, etc. And the other way around is also possible. So from nouns to adjectives, we have a set of suffixes that help us create adjectives. Friend becomes friendly by adding ly. Dirt becomes dirty by adding y. Danger becomes dangerous by adding ous. We'll take actually this one. Poet, the noun poet becomes poetic as an adjective. Music becomes musical as an adjective. Help, helpful. Home is the noun, homeless is the adjective. Child is the noun, childish is the adjective. Yet another way of creating adjectives is from verbs turning into an adjective is the following suffixes. To depend on something, someone becomes dependent. To enjoy something becomes enjoyable. To select something becomes something selective. To damage something becomes something damaged. To refresh something is something refreshing. all of which are from the beginning verb turning into an adjective. And from adjectives we create verb. We create verbs by adding these suffixes. Oops. Realize or n. Realize. Modern, modernize. Sharp, sharpen. Soft, soften. All of these are adjectives turning into to verbs. And from nouns we get verbs by using any of these suffixes. Strength becomes strengthen. Threat becomes threaten. Apology becomes apologize. Standard becomes standardize. Okay, these were some examples of suffixes that are to be used to create new word classes. It's an effective way of conquering language. It's an effective way of expanding your vocabulary. Making sure that you know the different suffixes, and of course knowing what an adjective is, adverb, noun, and verb. It is possible to vary your own language and expanding vocabulary.